What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about why I started stacking silver, and more importantly why I am continuing to stack silver almost 3 years later. But really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for daily videos. Also subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel, for exclusive weekly content. Brand new video over there, go check it out. The link will be in the description. And if you want to help support the channel by getting some DYDSS merchandise, of course we have some precious metal themed t-shirts and hoodies which are up for grabs, along with a ton of other products, t-shirts, hoodies, even stickers, many of which are raising funds and awareness for different charity organizations, such as the recently released Kraken Stack and t-shirt, hoodie, sticker, and coffee mug, as well as the limited edition DYDSS Halloween tee available in orange, purple, and gray. Any and all merchandise can be found by clicking the first link in the description section down below. Thank you in advance. It's more than appreciated. But today I want to talk about why I started stacking silver. Now, for those of you who do not know, I started stacking in December of 2017, towards the very end of December. So I pretty much got started in 2018. It was the very tail end of 2017. But I actually learned about silver a couple years beforehand. I think maybe 2 years prior to officially getting started stacking. So the person who introduced it to me, his name is Steven, longtime friend of mine. I've known the guy since I was probably 6 or 7 years old. Grew up together, went to the same schools, we were in the same classes. I knew the guy for a really long time. And then probably during our teenage years, he had moved. We lost contact. And then after high school, I graduated from one high school, he graduated from another. Thanks to social media, he and I reconnected. I had started a small business with a group of guys from high school, some of the guys that he knew from back in the day. And I said, hey, next time you're in the area, you should come hang out. We can catch up. I can show you what we have going on over here. He thought it was a cool idea. He came out to visit one day, and we all got to hang out, and we showed him what we had going on. And then he told me afterwards that he doesn't have anything other than his job when it comes to making money, or I realize now, making currency, but he did have something unique for when it comes to saving money. And that's when he started to tell me that he'd been stacking silver. The job he was working paid him every single week, and every single time he would get paid, he would go to a coin shop, and he told me he would pick up 2 silver eagles, 2 ounces of silver every single paycheck, at least. Oftentimes he would get more than that, but he would always make sure to get 2 troy ounces of silver every single time he got paid. Now, he was explaining to me why this was. He was telling me about the long-term wealth preservation and how it's a hedge against inflation, and if anything bad were to happen to the dollar bill, he was talking about how this has been money for thousands and thousands of years. It's constitutionally recognized as money, it's internationally recognized as money, it's biblically recognized as money. And I was there like,
what on God's green earth are you even talking about? It's just a piece of metal.
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was unique. I like different. I like things that are not exactly conventional, but just like most other people out there, I really didn't understand at the very beginning. Until one day, this was a couple years later, I don't know what happened or what reminded me of the conversation that he and I had probably about 2 years before this. And then I went on this website. Some of you may have heard about it, some of you maybe not. It's not that popular, it's not big or anything like that. It's called YouTube. I went on YouTube and searched silver videos. I remembered some of the things that he had told me. I was beginning to wake up to the fact that economically, we're not in the greatest shape. The dollar bill isn't in the greatest condition. And I was jogging my memory a little bit how silver is being used by some people as a hedge against inflation and for long-term wealth preservation. So I went and searched for a couple of silver videos. I found a couple of channels. The only 2 that really stood out to me the most were The Overtaxed Taxpayer and Salivate Metals. I watched countless videos from not just their channels, but primarily their channels, and started to understand how silver is not just a hobby, it's not just something to save money, but it's a pretty big online community. And not only that, it's financial preparation. Now, I've always been into prepping. I didn't know that prepping was an online community thing as well. I thought it was just simply having backup stuff just in case. I learned my lesson during Hurricane Sandy in 2012 or 13, whenever it was. I learned my lesson as to why it's important to be prepared in case things occur. I learned back then. So, beginning to understand the real concept of silver, I was able to relate it to that. Financial preparation for years, potentially decades down the road, which is kind of similar to how I guess you can say, hurricane prepping or preparing for potential storm damage, power outs, snowstorms, things like that. Because that's what I was preparing for. I knew that it was possible because it had already happened. And I was like, all right, let me not get in trouble again. Next time something like that occurs, hopefully I'll be able to stay afloat. Hopefully I'll be able to, come out on top, and it won't be, as much pain and suffering, for lack of better verbiage. So I watched several videos from those two channels. And then in December of 2017, after a couple weeks, maybe even a couple of months of watching their videos, I decided to actually make it happen. I pulled up a couple of different tabs, APMEX, JM Bullion, Provident Metals. I was looking all over the place. I didn't know what I wanted to get. I didn't really know or understand the difference between a coin and a round. But I went on over to my local coin shop, which is technically an antique shop, but they have this huge section dedicated to coins. I went in there, and I just simply picked up one little silver round. 1 troy ounce of silver. Spot price at the time was $17 and change. The little silver round I got came with a little airtight capsule, which came inside of a little tiny display box. So I think the total came to maybe, $22, $23, $24, something like that. And from that point moving forward, I was all in. That's all it took. Holding one piece of silver. See, I don't think anybody is really going to fully understand. They could dedicate years of their life to studying silver and watching all of the videos. But until you're physically holding real, true, honest money in your hands, I don't know what it is. Just something comes over you and you actually begin to understand, because it just feels so much more substantial. It's something of actual value when all we're really used to are little pieces of paper. This doesn't do anything for me. But for some reason, holding a little piece of silver did. And I was so ignorant at the time, I didn't know the difference between a coin and a round. It was a generic silver round, and I was running around like,
Hey, look at my first silver coin.
I didn't know the difference. But that's how I got started, and that's why I got started. But moving away from that, what I had learned from that point moving forward, by continuing to watch the silver and gold and prepping videos, I started to learn more and more. I started to do some independent research. I started looking at the graphs, the charts. I started looking at all of the different websites. I started talking to a bunch of different people who had been in for a couple weeks, couple months, couple years, couple of decades, understanding where they're coming from, why they're stacking silver, how they're stacking silver, what type of silver it is that they are stacking primarily. And I was sticking to generic silver rounds at the very beginning. I figured it's a good way of getting more physical silver content in my possession by paying a slightly lower premium than, let's just say, a Silver Eagle or a Maple Leaf or something like that. Then, a couple months down the road, due to all the research that I had been doing, I decided for myself that I wanted to switch from generic rounds to Silver Eagles for the most part. I said, okay, this is the pure silver coin of my country. I want that to be the foundation of my stack. I'm going to stack other stuff, but I want that to be the foundation. And if I lived in Canada, the foundation of my stack would be the Maple Leaf. If I lived in Mexico, it'd be the Libertad. If I lived in Australia, it'd be the Kangaroo. If I lived in China, it'd be the Panda. I thought it made the most sense to stack the coin of my country, which for me, fortunately, I'm blessed and lucky enough to be an American, so I decided to stack the Silver Eagle since it was the coin of my country. So that's what I did for the most part. Uncirculated Silver Eagles, and on the side, I was stacking cull circulated Canadian Maple Leafs. Because it was still a coin, I believe that the Silver Eagle is the superior 1 troy ounce silver coin out there. But I think the Maple Leaf is a very close second. Similar to the Kangaroo and also the Britannia, the Libertad, the Philharmonic. There's a lot of coins out there. I don't believe there's a single 1 troy ounce pure silver coin that is astronomically better than any of the other coins. I do think that the Silver Eagle is number 1, but I don't think it wins in like a landslide. Very close second, I believe the Canadian Maple Leaf is. It has a slightly higher level of purity. It's almost as recognizable and desired and trusted internationally. So on the side of the Silver Eagles, I was stacking Maple Leafs, and I was stacking cull Maple Leafs for the most part. About 50-50, some cull, some uncirculated, whatever I can get my hands on. And that's how I went about stacking for pretty much my entire first year, all of 2018. And then towards the end of 2018, November of 2018, more specifically, Black Friday, I picked up the 5-ounce silver bar. Cyber Monday, I picked up the 10-ounce silver bar. And believe it or not, I did not open up the 10-ounce silver bar until Christmas. That was my Christmas present to myself. I waited a month. And then moving into 2019, I started to get a little bit more into 90% junk constitutional silver, whatever you want to refer to it as. I started to understand the importance. Truthfully, at the time, I was really not into it. It didn't really do much for me. For whatever reason, I saw the silver dimes, the quarters, the half dollars as essentially no different than my pocket change. Of course, contains silver, pre-65. It contains silver, but aesthetically, it didn't really do anything for me. It didn't get me excited. I wasn't really driven to stack 90%. But I did understand the importance, which is why starting in January of 2019, I made the decision that from here on out, I'm going to include at least $1 face value, that is, 90% silver, to my order. Sometimes it would be random. I didn't know what I was going to get. Maybe it would be 4 quarters, 10 dimes, 2 half dollars. I had no idea. Sometimes I would specifically order Mercury dimes. Sometimes I would specifically order Walking Liberty half dollars, where I knew what I was getting, but I always made sure to include at least $1 face value, because it adds up over time. Little by little by little, especially if you're stacking the way that I was stacking, and still am stacking for the most part. Back then, I was stacking way more aggressively, because back then, spot price was only between $13 and $17. And the premiums were nothing crazy on Silver Eagles, Maple Leafs, and 90%, which is primarily what I was stacking for the most part. Super low premiums, super low spot price. Back then, I was placing orders 2, 3, sometimes 4, 5 times a month if I was ordering online. I would pick up new silver sometimes 4 times in the span of 10 days. I started to understand the importance of 90%, so I was including a little bit of that to each and every order. So if I place 5 orders in a month, that's at least $5 face value of 90% silver. Keep in mind, if there was a sale on 90% silver, I would pick up even more. And slowly but surely, it really started to add up. Here's just one little bag, and this is just quarters. I just showed off the dimes, and I got even more. These are just some of the ones that I don't keep in my safe so I can film my videos. Some more quarters, and I got plenty more where that came from. It adds up over time. I started to understand the importance of 90% silver and reasons to diversify the stack a little bit, and I started to really appreciate the fact that it gave me a way to stack fractional silver without paying crazy high premiums, because most of you probably know this, but fractional silver rounds and bars carry crazy high premiums. But 90%, sure, it's not pure silver, but it can be broken down, and it's pretty easy to figure out. I posted a video on my backup channel about making 90% silver simple. And that's how I stacked for the most part of 2019. Now moving into 2020, things got a little bit different. I didn't stack nearly as much silver this year as I was planning, or as I was hoping to. As we all know, when planet Earth essentially shut down in March, I didn't know exactly what that meant. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to occur. I didn't know what was going to really present itself in the up and coming days, weeks, or months. So I took a step back away from everything, and I said, I'm going to hang tight and hold on to my currency for a little while, just because I have no idea how this shutdown is going to, number one, affect my income, 2, if it's going to create new expenses that I wasn't prepared for. The last thing that I would ever want to do is get ahead of myself and give away too many of these in exchange for these, and then be forced to liquidate and trade some of this back into some more of this. I would really rather not do that. Sure, I have a cash emergency fund. Some people will say have 6 months stored away, just in case. It's a pretty good idea. But what happens if you have a 7-month long emergency? Long story short, I took a step back away for about 90 days. I didn't pick up a single piece of silver for about 90 days. 90 days is all it really took for me to realize, okay, this isn't nearly as drastic or dramatic as I thought it was going to be. So I got back to stacking silver. And a lot of what you see here on screen, I picked up over these last few months. I got this Kraken, I got both of these Queen's Beasts, I got the silver bar, I got a bunch of silver, a bunch of 90% silver. I got quite a bit of gold these last couple months as well as a bunch of other stuff that isn't even in frame right now. It's in my safe or it's in my box over here. I've gotten a lot of silver and gold these last couple of months, making up for lost time. But regardless, spot price is much higher than it was last year. Premiums are way higher than last year as well. So I think we can all agree it's a little bit tougher than it was this time last year. But hey, we got to adapt and overcome. It is what it is. It's out of our control. Therefore, it's not really worth worrying about at the end of the day. So we got to trade a little bit higher of a fiat currency dollar amount for some real true money. In my opinion and from my perspective, it's still worth it. This stuff is still money. This stuff is still real, true, honest, internationally recognized, constitutionally recognized, biblically recognized as money. And I'm going to still stack it as aggressively as possible. And the reason for that is because Same reason I got started in the first place. For the long term. You see the silver that I have right here? This isn't about today. This isn't about next week, next month, end of the year, or sometime next year. This is about multiple years, multiple decades in the future. All of this silver right here, it's for the long term. It's wealth preservation. It's not for a quick buck. It's not for flipping just so I can cash out and pay capital gains tax and roll around in the fiat dollars and then go out and buy a depreciating asset. That's not what it's about. It's about the long term. I don't consider the physical silver to be an investment, but I do agree that it's an investment in our futures, our finances, our families potentially. That's the way I see it. That's the way I've seen it for a very long time, and I would assume that's how I'm going to continue to see it. A lot's happened over these last couple of months. A lot of people have been shaken out. A lot of people got scared, ran away, or maybe there was a financial emergency and they really had no choice but to part ways with their silver. And now that they did part ways with their silver, it's too high for them to buy back in, so they're discouraged. They don't want anything to do with silver anymore. Things happen. Everyone's different. Everyone's living a different life. Everyone's going through different things. Everyone has a different lifestyle, income, expenses, etc. So I wouldn't want to pass judgment, but everything that's gone on within the precious metal markets these last couple of months, it hasn't changed my opinion. If anything, it's strengthened my opinion. I'm more confident now, more than ever, when it comes to the precious metals. And if anybody's interested in joining the Precious Metals VIP Club, it's where I can do things on my terms, not on YouTube's terms, my terms. I'm hosting privately held live streams. They're smaller, easier to manage. I can read more comments and respond to more viewers in real time. I'm doing giveaways, discounts, personalized promo codes, shout outs, deal alerts when silver and gold is on sale on a variety of different websites. It's all being posted in one spot. And you can watch all of the YouTube videos commercial free. Come join the Precious Metals VIP Club. It'll be the first link in the description. You're invited. I'd be happy to have you. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button. If you guys like me, make sure to subscribe. New videos every single day, 365 days a year. Also subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Brand new video over there. Go check it out. The link will be in the description. Trying really hard to hit 2,000 subscribers. We just hit 1,000 and I appreciate that. And if you want to help support the channel in the biggest possible way, please consider getting yourself some DYDSS merchandise. Of course, we have some precious metal themed t-shirts and hoodies, which are up for grabs, along with a ton of other products, t-shirts, hoodies, even stickers, many of which are raising funds and awareness for different charity organizations. Of course, we have the recently released Kraken Stackin' t-shirt, hoodie, sticker, and coffee mug, which was inspired by the beautiful 2-ounce silver Kraken right here. And it's also helping us raise a little bit of funds and awareness for ocean cleanup charity organizations at no additional cost to you. It comes out of my pocket, not yours. And of course, the limited edition DYDSS Halloween tee available in orange, purple, and gray. It's only available in October, so get one while you can. Any and all merchandise can be found by clicking the first link in the description section down below. Thank you in advance. It's more than appreciated. And I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know. Number one, who introduced you to silver? How did you discover the silver stacking or the gold stacking realm? Was it a friend? Did you somehow stumble upon it here on YouTube? Maybe you had nothing to do with precious metals and a precious metal video was recommended to you, or you just found it some way, somehow. Who introduced you to silver? And two, why did you start stacking silver? Was it for the long term? Was it for similar reasons that I explained throughout the course of this video? And do you diversify? Is it strictly silver, nothing else? You stack a little bit of gold as well? When it comes to the silver, are you going for only pure silver? Do you go for the constitutional silver in addition to that? How are you diversifying? And why are you involved in silver? Is it for the long term? Is it for the short term? Is it to pass down to your kids, maybe your grandkids? Is it to trade for gold and or for land one day? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below regarding stacking silver, why you got started, how you got started, and why you continue to stack. Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.